Hey everybody, welcome to our week on factoring. Today we're going to factor quadratics when we have a leading coefficient of 1. So our first example, we have x squared plus 13x plus 30. As you can see in the example above, we have three values, a, b, and c. A is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is our constant. And what we're going to do is use these three values to figure out how to factor. So let's just label A is 1, and that's because up here we have x squared, so we assume there's a 1. B is positive 13, and C is positive 30. Now what you're going to do is you're going to use all three of these numbers. First, we're going to take A times C. So that's going to, and then we're going to use the value B all by itself. All right, so A times C, that's going to give me 1 times 30, and that just gives me 30. And then we have B, so the number 13. So we're looking for two numbers that are going to multiply to give me 30, but they're going to add to give me 13. So what I'm going to do is just make myself a little chart here. And we're going to start looking, actually, you know what? Why even bother using a chart? Let's just use our calculator. So I want you to go to y equals in your calculator, and we're going to take the value 30, the number we found after we multiplied a and c. So we're going to take 30 and divide by x. This will work every time you want to find the factors, the numbers that multiply to give you 30, and then we just need to figure out which pair adds to give me 13. So once you've typed in 30 divided by x, press second and then table. Second table. There we go. All right, so here are your numbers that multiply to give you 30, but also add to give you other values. So for example, 1 times 30 is 30, but those don't add to give me 13. 2 times 15 adds to give me 17. 3 plus 10, and there's our answer. 3 times 10 gives me 30. But 3 plus 10 gives me 13. So now we have exactly the factors we need for this problem. So we're going to draw our parentheses. And we have our numbers 3 and 10. They're both positive, so I'll put a plus sign, plus 3 and plus 10. And then x squared splits up evenly, x times x. So x plus 3 times x plus 10. And now you've factored the quadratic and really had the calculator do all the work for us. Let's try another one. All right, here we have x squared minus 4x minus 60. So just as a reminder, let's list our values. A is 1, B is negative 4, C is negative 60. So we're going to take those numbers. Remember, we're going to do A times C first. So 1 times negative 60, which gives me negative 60. So we're going to be using that number for the calculator. And then we need to keep in mind the value for B, which was negative 4. So remember, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to give me negative 60 and two numbers that add to give me negative 4. So we're going to go to y equals. Let's clear out that last example, and let's type in negative 60 divided by x. And again, that negative 60 is the number we get from multiplying a and c together. All right, we're going to press second and then graph. All right, here are your numbers. Usually it starts at 0, so these are all the numbers that multiply to give me negative 60. And we're looking for numbers that will add to give me negative 4. So I think I've gone too far. Let's go back up here and check. 4 and negative 15, if I add those, I get negative 11. 5 and negative 12, that gives me negative 7. 6 and negative 10, that gives me negative 4. So my numbers that we're going to use are 6 and negative 10. So we can come back up here, and then we can factor. We're going to have a positive 6 and a negative 10. And then we're going to split up our x squared evenly. So x times x. x plus 6, x minus 10. And now we're done. And again, we had the calculator do all the hard work for us. Join us back tomorrow for factoring when the leading coefficient isn't 1. So what do we do when there's a 2 or a 3 here? We'll do that tomorrow. See you then.